This is AM Agenda. With me now, lecturer at the US Studies Centre at the University of Sydney, David Smith. David, thanks for your time. What are we expecting in the US midterms, which are happening overnight our time in the United States? What do you anticipate the results to be? It does look like the Republicans are likely to control both the Senate and the House after the midterm votes.
Yes, Republicans will definitely keep control of the House, and it's quite likely that they'll keep control of the Senate. They only need to pick up 6 seats in order to control the Senate, and at the moment it looks quite likely that they'll pick up about 8. So it's not a certainty that Republicans will control the Senate, and we might not actually know for a few days or even months if a couple of races go into runoffs in Georgia and Louisiana. But at this stage it looks quite likely that Republicans will win control of the Senate.
And David, so give us a sense of the political climate in the United States. Why is that the case, particularly when you're looking at a Republican Party which has 2 very clear streams in it, doesn't it? And I guess we get to that. We can talk about that a bit later in terms of how they come up with a presidential nominee, because you've got the Tea Party and then the traditional Republicans. But why, in terms of the Congress, do they look like they're going to be doing better?
Well, the whole political climate in the United States tends to be determined by what people think of the president. And President Obama's rating is around 40%, which is pretty low, although not catastrophically low, but low enough to be a real drag on every single congressional candidate for the Democrats. And certainly the American people keep seeing crisis after crisis, from Ebola to ISIS. They keep seeing disaster after disaster, the government seemingly unable to do anything about it or seemingly making it worse. And so all politicians are pretty unpopular at the moment, but it's President Obama's approval rating that is really going to be the thing that probably costs Democrats the election.
Okay, so in terms of President Obama, let's play you a little of him trying to campaign for a local governor. Malloy is his name. Didn't get a great reception from everyone attending this particular rally. This was in Connecticut overnight.
As I've said before, it's always ironic that the folks who are shouting don't understand that we actually support their issue. The folks who don't support the issue are the ones who are voting against Dan Malloy. So they need to go to the other rally and focus on them.
Haven't seen that very often, but it gives you a sense of the challenges that the president is facing midway through his second term.
Yes, President Obama is quite unique in that he's been heckled by Congress. He's been heckled at a press conference. And so another instance of heckling probably isn't going to bother him very much. We've seen unprecedentedly low levels of civility among the American public and American institutions when it comes to dealing with President Obama. But certainly this is part of the sort of general symptom of his unpopularity. And yeah, this is definitely one of the reasons why a lot of Democratic candidates have actually been trying to distance themselves from President Obama during this campaign.
The economy seems to be picking up, though, David. The US economy has been picking up in recent times out of the GFC. Obama's not getting any credit for that, though. What is at the core of this unpopularity in your view?
Yeah, he's not getting a lot of credit for the economic recovery, which was very slow and which has been quite uneven as well and still hasn't been felt by a lot of people. There's a general kind of weariness with any president that kicks in at about the 6-year mark, and especially with a president whose 2 terms have been as tumultuous as President Obama, and every single thing that he has had to deal with has really taken its toll on him. So I would say the biggest factor is a kind of general weariness among the population. And after seeing government and politics just be in such a state of disarray over the last 4 years especially, President Obama cops the kind of general disillusionment with politics that's going on in America at the moment. And you know, this record low levels of interest in this election among the American public given the amount of dysfunction and disarray that they've seen over the last few years. They've got no reason to believe that this is going to change if the Senate changes hands, and so there's a real just general disillusionment going on.
Well, tell me how this plays into the 2016 outlook. There is still a real expectation that Hillary Clinton will lead the ticket for the Democrats, and it might be a Bush-Clinton rerun, but again, I guess that comes back to the question of whether Jeb Bush can override the Tea Party, which is carrying so much influence in the Republican movement at the moment. Is that your sense of where the 2016 outlook is at the moment? Hillary, the red-hot favourite for the Democrats, Bush likely but not certain for the Republicans?
Yes, the Republican primary race will be another very destructive race for all of the candidates involved, just as the 2012 one was. Because of these divisions between the Tea Party and the establishment, because someone like Jeb Bush, who is reasonably popular in the population, but as part of the Bush family, his name is absolutely mud with the hard right of the Republican Party, this is going to be a brutal fight. And one of the things that Senate Republicans will do is, because they won't be able to pass a lot of legislation, because they won't be able to get around the filibuster, they won't be able to override the president's veto, they're probably going to spend a lot of time trying to discredit Hillary Clinton. They'll set up all kinds of inquiries into things like Benghazi. They'll do everything that they can, expecting Hillary Clinton to be the candidate, to try to bring her down before 2016. That will be the main purpose of the Republican majority in the Senate between now and then, just as Mitch McConnell's main mission as Senate Minority Leader was to make it impossible for President Obama to govern. I believe that once again, a Republican majority in the Senate will be clearly focused on the next presidential race.
David Smith, thank you very much for your insights. Appreciate it. That's all for AIM Agenda this morning. Thank you for your company. A big sporting day